An off day yesterday, and the Chatham Anglers are back in action and facing the same team they faced 2 days ago, the Harwich Mariners, and coming off, well, the Mariners a no-hitter.
That's not the Harwich Mariners. It's the 27 Yankees.
What makes you say that?
They're real good. That's a very, very good team. They have a lot of answers. As we found out the other night, they just ran out 4 guys through 95. You know, that's pretty darn good. Good for Steve.
And at the same time, they had 10 runs on 17 hits.
And they hit. Yeah, that's why I said they're 27 Yankees. Yeah, they're pretty good.
So when you take a look at these East Division standings and you see them tied with YD, what does that tell you about Harwich and what does that tell you about YD?
Well, they're both good teams. It's funny how matchups, I think we match up better against some teams in this league than others, and at this stage we don't match very well with Harwich. We played one really, really good game against them, and the rest of the time they've kind of pretty much handled us. And again, that's a good squad, and it's a matter of breaks, and it's like I told you, I've been telling people for a while, it's always a matter of inches. You know, that ball that Donovan Casey hits in the right center field gap goes through, it's a different game at that point. Right. What happens from that point on, we don't know, but that's a whole different ball game if that ball falls. And, you know, we make a couple base hits, or we make a couple good pitches, they get a bleeder, and it all snowballs, and then, of course, they get a good hit, they hit a home run, or they hit a double in a gap, and then that's it. That's how it snowballs on you, but that's a very good team. And, again, YD is very good as well.
It's kind of a quirk in the schedule maybe to face the same team 2 games in a row. Is there any extra fire with what happened the other day?
No, you got to flush that one down the toilet, and you got to come back and play them today.
When it comes to your game tonight at White House Field, there's a new name in the lineup. It's Mason Coppins, who's a new addition. What can you tell us about him?
Mason can run like the wind. He can go get him in center field. He's got a strong throwing arm, and he's a push drag, move the runners along base hitter. Perfect 2-hitter, perfect 8-hitter, 8-9 hitter. He'll bunt for a base hit. He'll get the hit and run down for you, those kind of things. Guys you really like to have in your team. He's a solid player.
And he's here in Chatham because of, well, the guy on the other side, Steve Englert.
Yep, exactly. You know, you're looking around for players, and you call everybody. Everybody calls us if we know where players are, and it just happened that I actually saw his name coming off, just looking through some of the different leagues and rosters, and I saw his stats, and I saw Northeastern, so I immediately made the phone call, and Steve said, yeah, you'll like him. That's why he's here.
So, you know, maybe the Mariners don't need him. Maybe he ends up hurting Harwich tonight.
Well, that'd be nice. I mean, of course, I'd like to get a win here tonight. Steve's been very good to me. A couple years ago, we had a kid that actually had a summer home here in Harwichport, and it was like the final hour. We had to have this person on Cape Cod. I believe it was either 3 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm talking to Steve at like 7 a.m., and I says, can he get here on time for the deadline? He goes, oh God, yeah, he's in Harwichport. So it was perfect, and he ended up getting a base hit to beat Harwich. And then 2 days later, he actually hits a home run in our first playoff game against YD. So that was kind of fun. Those are the neat stories about the Cape League and about this time of year. It's just, you know, trying to fill out your roster, trying to find the best guys available, and hopefully Mason Coppins will do that or something like that.
Well, it seemed as though the temporary players at the beginning of the summer provided a significant spark, and then when Hunter and Reed came back.
World's greatest recruited temporary team ever. They're signing or they're making the all-star team. We did a great job of getting our temps in here.
That's right. Jason Foley signing with the Tigers, Tony DeBrill, an all-star with Bourne now. And the guys that, came for the permanent contracts, they haven't been bad. But by no stretch of the imagination, but it seems like there's a spark with the new guys coming in and the guys that were here at the beginning.
Yeah. I was talking to Ed today, Ed Baird, as he was, filling up my living room, and I don't want to say how many feet, but they call it a game of inches, and we've got a lot of inches that if the ball went our way, and I said maybe 25 feet went our way, we'd have a far different record, whether it's a spectacular play that the other team makes or a ball that we just hit right on the screws. And we've had 2 or 3 home runs brought back, and if you add all those up, how many feet would it be? I don't know. I'm just saying we would have probably 5 more wins, but that's baseball. And that's so great about this league, is that's how they have to, use that as part of their learning process. You don't like it. You don't like to be, striving on, let's learn from our adversity. You don't like to say that a lot, but, we certainly have had our share. And if they handle it properly, it'll help them in their learning process. It'll help them in their progressing to the next level. So that's all part of it, is dealing with that kind of stuff. And I have to say, as far as outwardly in the dugout, they have handled it very, very well. There's not been, very few temper tantrums or losing your composure. Just, okay, I got to go the next at bat. I got to go do it. I got to do the next. I got to pitch better the next inning. I've got to do something better. And I think if they take it properly, I think they're going to get a lot out of that part of it. It's a great learning experience to fail and know what you need to do to become successful.
Well, the Anglers will try and be successful tonight, coming off a hitless performance against the Harwich Mariners, maybe looking for some revenge tonight.
That was a dominant performance. I think I mentioned it the other day about YD. Their pitcher threw very well against us. We hit the ball hard. We had a couple balls that really could have gone either way, and deep balls that they made some nice plays on. I didn't think their pitcher dominated. He threw extremely well and deserved the win, but their staff dominated us. I mean, that was impressive. I mean, just the starter was effectively wild, and then their bullpen came in and just shut the door. It was an impressive performance.
Well, looking for a win tonight and perhaps trying to move back into that playoff picture. Just 3 points back of the Brewster Whitecaps and, a few more points back of the Orleans Firebirds. 2 games against Orleans to end the season. Well, we'll see where we are on August 3rd. Schiff, thanks for your time.
Yep, you got to play the game.
Evan, back to you.